First questions first. Am I against the lockdown? No, I'm not against the lockdown. But I do realize that India might require a completely different approach along with a lockdown than what the Western economies like Italy, Spain, US, or even China has tried to use. Yes, I wrote about it the moment I realized that a lockdown was a possibility in India. I wanted to warn that a lockdown may not be the best solution, and if we go for a lockdown, we must be very well prepared about the consequences. And as we see around, I fear my fear is coming true. I was afraid of a lockdown. Why was I afraid of a lockdown? I was afraid of a lockdown because India is a poor country. A country without any kind of social security. A country where the poor live in slums, 50 to 70% depending upon the city that we are talking about. They live in one-room flats. Within that flats, often 5 to 8 people stay. That's the country we are talking about. You lock them all down and one of them gets affected, all the 8 do. You are not going to be able to isolate them. How do you feed them? It's not possible. It's not possible to lock down poor people who are dependent on daily wages and who need to go out every day to earn their living. We don't have a social security structure. We don't have money being transferred to their bank accounts. And the economic consequences of a lockdown in a country like India would be scary, and that's exactly what I wanted to warn. I wanted to warn about 3 things. One, that in India it's going to spread faster because of the way we stay, congested in smaller rooms, bigger families. So it's going to spread faster than the entire world if we get affected. I also said that our death rates will be higher because this is affecting those with existing conditions the most. And in India, the health condition is really scary for the poor. They don't live on an average more than 55 years in any case. And when people live for about 55 years of age, that means they develop health conditions by about 45. So the death rate is going to be much more. And finally, I wanted to say that in India, the average age at which people will die is going to be much lesser. It might just be about 45 instead of 65 plus. The high percentage that you see beyond the age of 65, you might see that beyond the age of 45 or 50 in India. And that is the situation that Indians needed to be prepared for before planning what to do. But am I against a lockdown? Absolutely no. It's obviously clear that if the entire world was to go on a lockdown for about 3 months straight, then whoever has got the virus and whoever gets the virus, they would either be cured or they would be dead. And most likely, we would be able to kill the virus. But that's not a possibility. The entire world is not on a lockdown. People are spreading. They're talking about the Wuhan area being now free of the virus. That's not true. Tomorrow it could be just one person again starting it all over again. It could start in Beijing. So China is not completely free. This is just the stage 1. Just 4 days back, the California governor himself said about 25 million will be infected by corona just in the next 8 weeks. Just in the next 8 weeks. WHO has a prediction that in India about 80 crore people would get infected. And that's scary. And with about 3-4% people dying, or more in the case of countries like India, Italy is probably 10% despite great healthcare. We are looking at a situation which is scary. And that's why in my article before the lockdown, I wrote that we must try and save India from becoming one huge morgue. We must save the poor of India. And we must not blindly follow Italy, Spain, US, or China. We must have a country-specific policy where lockdown might be a temporary solution, but we must look at a long-run, beautiful solution through which we can save this nation.